The adult jokes fall behind even Family Guy in terms of how juvenile the jokes are.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
Greetings, viewers! Night here, bringing you the commentary that will surely kill my channel. So last month, the YouTuber Rizby Pop put out her pilot for Hazbin Hotel, a project she's been working on for at least 3 years now. Then a day later, fellow YouTuber PKRussl put out his video called Hazbin Hotel is Terrible, where he reviewed it. I didn't like it. Which is why we're here. Before I start though, allow me to point out that the title of his review has changed. It's now Hazbin Hotel Isn't That Great. Methinks he changed it to avoid the backlash after he posted it on Twitter about how the video got copyright claimed. But just changing the title won't protect him from the criticism he gets from other YouTubers.
This one review I watched when trying to make this video just complains about things that were integral to the point of the story, to the point where none of it is really constructive criticism, and it's just him wanting things out of this that he's not getting just because that's not the point.
Whoever did the voice acting for this character overacted the lines so much to the point where it's, for lack of a better word, cringy and frankly painful to watch and listen to. There's a knock at the door of the hotel, and when the door is opened, we are introduced to yet another new character. This one has a weird radio voice for some reason.
Sinners started calling him the Radio Demon.
Also, yes, I'm aware he put out a video responding to all the backlash. However, I already read the script and don't see a reason to throw away all this work. Plus, his response itself isn't that great.
Stop! Before you hit the dislike button, please watch the whole video. Please, watch the whole video. I'm going to explain myself. You can't just look at the title and dislike, okay? If you do that, you're a dumb person.
I agree. Disliking a video on title alone is dumb. However, I think the reason your video got the amount of dislikes it did wasn't so much the title, but treating your criticisms as if they were objective fact, and the way you presented yourself. I know you say in your response that you watched the pilot 4 times, but it came off as if you only watched the pilot once, and then chose to make your video. And I think we all know how presentation can make or break a review on anything.
Hazbin Hotel begins with a very nice intro song, and the visuals during this song really build the setting for Hazbin Hotel. It sets up the art style, it sets up the world. The intro is actually quite good, and I really like it. I'm already immersed by the time the song is done.
Oh, I'm alive! I'm alive!
Just to be unimmersed faster than literally anything else I've ever watched with the most cliche children's cartoon joke. A character survives something dangerous, celebrates surviving, and is then made not alive.
The setting for Hazbin Hotel is literally hell. You know, the place where irredeemably bad people go after they die? With that in mind, it makes perfect sense that pedestrians would get mowed down often, mainly because drivers just don't care for their safety and well-being. Plus, it's likely that this demon was meant to be purged, aka how heaven keeps space in hell open. And I admit we don't know how it works yet, but it's just speculation. If that is the case, him thinking he escaped death and getting hit by a car would count as dark humor, which is a thing in adult animated shows like the Venture Brothers or Metalocalypse, where indifference to others' misfortune is a key aspect of the comedy. Is it funny? Subjective, but there is an audience for it.
That's not the only joke of this type. After that, we learn that this guy has just sold himself, if you know what I mean, to this character, and then the same joke we literally just saw happens 2 more times. The guy's car goes and crashes. He's presumed not alive. Then he goes over and gets some angel dust. Someone takes it. And then literally the exact same joke. Gets smashed by a boulder and is committed not alive.
Oh my god! My drugs!
Funny joke, oh my god. Drugs, oh my god! We had the exact same joke literally 3 times in a row there.
Not really. The first joke is Demon thinking he escaped death only to get hit by a car. The second is more implied than anything. And the joke behind the third death isn't so much that this guy got crushed by a boulder and died, but that angel dust reacts in shock because his drugs got ruined, implying this thing happens a lot in hell. Plus, I'd say that it's the voice actor's delivery that sells this scene than anything, really. The only thing that's the same is that someone gets hurt.
Hazbin Hotel is absolutely riddled with juvenile humor that you'd expect in a cartoon made for children, which would normally be fine, except this show is an adult show with adult humor, specifically aimed at older audiences, as the description of the video itself says. This juxtaposition of juvenile humor and adult humor in the same cartoon is frankly just uncomfortable.
It's not like there was a contrast in the opening song or anything. Beautiful, angelic singing set over a crapsack world where its inhabitants are monstrous beings.
It feels like the show doesn't know what it wants to be. I thought Family Guy and The Simpsons were juvenile in their humor, but Hazbin Hotel feels like a straight-up carbon copy of a Nickelodeon cartoon in terms of humor, with adult jokes wedged between incredibly juvenile jokes.
I mean, it's not unlikely that the earlier cartoons on Nickelodeon were some form of inspiration, but you act like that's a bad thing somehow. Aren't the writers allowed to use whatever form of comedy that will amuse them and likely amuse others? The main reason why shows like Ren and Stimpy and Invader Zim got to be as popular as they are was because they pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable on public television. Since this is YouTube, the creators have more freedom, or as much as freedom as YouTube allows anyway, to use whatever form of humor they want.
It feels like the show doesn't know what it wants to be. I thought Family Guy and The Simpsons were juvenile in their humor, but Hazbin Hotel feels like a straight-up carbon copy of a Nickelodeon cartoon in terms of humor, with adult jokes wedged between incredibly juvenile jokes.
Oh, harder, Daddy.
I noticed you didn't play that clip in full. Here, let me help you finish that.
Oh, harder, Daddy. Son?
From what I understand, when a new sinner comes to hell, they're transformed so they no longer resemble how they used to look when they were alive. The joke isn't haha, sex joke. It's that after Serpentius attacks Angel Dust, Angel says, harder daddy. Serpentius taking being called daddy seriously, and Angel's reaction. Despite what you say in your response, they aren't two separate jokes. This scene is both a setup and a punchline. You also said you were afraid to get copyright claimed, so I'll just have to wait and see if that happens to me. I mean, it already happened twice last month. Not that I'm bitter!
Next, a spaceship-type vehicle is shown destroying the city. We're taken inside the ship and introduced to this way overacted voice acting mess.
Those other cowardly sinners dare not hinder my territorial takeover. A wise decision. The power of my machines are unmatched. No other demon can compare to the likes of I.
Whoever did the voice acting for this character overacted the lines so much to the point where it's, for lack of a better word, cringy and frankly painful to watch and listen to.
Serpentius is meant to be like those old over-the-top cartoon villains, like Moto Jojo, Zim, Snidely Whiplash, or really any character that is so bombastic it's hilarious. You say in your response that you understand that, but still say it's bad. Why? Because to borrow an argument from Just Stop, everything about this character suggests that he's the type of character who thinks highly of himself, no matter how hammy, and revels in his own evil. Now it could be that you just don't care for that type of character, but there was a severe lack of, in my opinion, in your criticisms, and you claim that the character's voice and mannerisms are bad, as if it's a fact.
If you watch for the adult humor, you have to suffer through the juvenile nature of everything else in the show. If you watch because it's a cartoon and you're 12 years old, you will definitely enjoy the juvenile nature of the show, but the adult jokes will not only confuse you, but will scar you for life, because children shouldn't be exposed to the level of adult humor that exists in Hazbin Hotel. And I'm not saying that that's any fault of the creators.
Just wait.
Am I dead yet?
Who breaks through the glass, threatening to smash this guy's ship. Then it cuts to a news report where we are introduced to 2 more characters. So we're 5 minutes in, including the title sequence, and we've already been introduced to 5 characters. That's way too much. That's way too many characters for that period of time. In this news report, we have some lovely adult humor.
Looks like they're fighting tooth and nail for that hotspot.
And I'd sure like to nail her hotspot.
You are a lip-dick jackass, Tom. Or should I say, no dick.
I'm laughing and crying. That was so funny. Oh my god. Literally, like, a 12-year-old wrote this.
Nice. You clearly have nothing but respect for the show's writers, Russell. Why is the juvenile humor in this a problem? You never give a reason other than only kids will giggle at it, but at the same time, you say that children shouldn't be exposed to it because it'll scar them. My kids haven't been scarred by animation before.
That's disturbing.
So Charlie, who is this girl, goes on to explain on the news that she wants to end the extermination, which from what we can infer is a government procedure similar to the Purge or Hunger Games, a nasty tradition in the government of hell where Hazbin Hotel takes place to control the population. She plans to end the extermination by opening a hotel where sinners, the citizens of hell, can redeem themselves to escape hell.
I have a dream. I'm here to tell about a wonderful, fantastic new hotel.
And then she sings a song for some reason.
Yeah, it's not like she wanted to do that in the first place, or that her girlfriend kept telling her not to.
Come on, Vaggie, I know what to say. I just feel like we need to, I don't know, make things sound more exciting. Oh, what if I
Sing a song about it?
You knew I was gonna say that.
Because I know you. But please don't sing. This is serious.
Well, you know, I'm better at expressing myself and my goals through song.
But life isn't a musical, hun.
Fine.
Oops.
And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
And then at the end of the performance, what does everyone do? First, we have a juvenile joke.
Wow! That was shit.
And then everyone starts laughing. Literally one of the most overused tropes in video history, whether it's films, TV shows, etc. A character explains a grand plan or ambition they have, or a character puts on a huge performance. Here it's a combination of the two, and at the end everyone laughs at them.
Because this is hell, a place full of irredeemably bad people. Did you forget that? Everyone's laughing because they think Charlie's proposal is stupid.
What in the 9 circles makes you think a single denizen of hell would give 2 shits about becoming a better person?
These are creatures that clearly don't care about trying to better themselves. Charlie and Vaggie are literally the only two trying to help others redeem themselves, no matter how futile it might be or how many times they're laughed at. And before anyone says, well, Charlie's the princess. Yeah, it turns out demons don't respond much to royal authority, and demons respond to power and intimidation. Charlie is so passive that it's easy for other characters to walk all over her.
Angel Dust explains how he ended up at the Hazbin Hotel, and then literally out of nowhere, this happens.
Oh, harder, Daddy!
This happens literally out of nowhere, and there's absolutely no explanation as to why it happened. Now, sometimes random humor that happens out of nowhere can be funny, but in this example, as with many other examples of humor in this show, it seems like the writers just thought that being inappropriate for absolutely no reason at all, being inappropriate for the sake of being inappropriate, out of literally nowhere, they thought it was funny for some reason. This reminds me a lot of Lele Pons level humor, just random stuff happening for no reason.
Except in the whole exchange you're talking over, Cherry Bomb and Angel Dust are mocking Serpentius, who, happiness aside, is established to take himself seriously. They're clearly trying to get a rise out of him. Also, there was context. Serpentius slams Angel to the ground to hurt him, but Angel just says harder in order to piss him off.
Pepper's ribs.
We ride along in a limo with Angel Dust, Charlie, and Charlie's girlfriend, whose name is Vaggie. And in this scene, Vaggie scolds Angel Dust, and there's excessive use of the F word. I think the writers wrote that in because they want you to remember, this is an adult show.
Your little stunt made us look like a fucking joke.
Listen, who cares if some jagoffs got hurt? Most of them are ugly freaks. Look around. We got a bunch of fucking Harlequin babies down here.
You're one to talk. Hey!
You know, if you're going to say that fuck is now a basic curse word, and that's lost all shock value thanks to the internet, I'd agree with you on that. However, you're just still going with this, they're trying too hard to be adult narrative.
Am I dead yet?
When they arrive in the hotel, it appears completely run down and abandoned. No new souls have shown up to be rehabilitated, and the writers missed out on a great opportunity for character development. Angel Dust says this joke,
It's probably a good idea to get some actual food in this place. You know, to feed all the wayward souls you got in here.
Right here, where he pauses and walks away. What if he kept walking towards Charlie to comfort her? Show a softer side that he doesn't show publicly. I think the writers missed a great opportunity to make Angel Dust a non-one-dimensional character.
Except they did. We can clearly see that he feels bad about making Charlie feel miserable. He acts like he's about to try and comfort her, but considering this scene...
Your little stunt made us look like a fucking joke.
No, babe. Jokes are funny. I made you look, sad and pathetic. Like an orphan with no arms or legs. With progeria! Great! Now I'm bummed thinking about it.
It's likely that he knows he'll screw that up too, so he solemnly walks away. It shows that there's more to Angel than just making snarky, obnoxious comments and sex jokes trying to make people cringe. Sometimes a little can do a lot.
There's a knock at the door of the hotel, and when the door is opened, we are introduced to yet another new character. This one has a weird radio voice for some reason.
He would broadcast himself slaughtering his rivals over the radio. Plus, he was a radio host in life turned serial killer, and has several radio qualities in his design, like his voice. PK goes on to say that he can barely understand Alistair, when really he isn't that inaudible. Really, I think he just so said, I don't like the filter they use for his voice. I mean, I think you'd still be missing the point of it, but at least then people would be able to understand that you're expressing your opinion that much better.
Am I dead yet?
Conversations are had, things are said between characters for a while, and then literally, unprovoked, out of nowhere, this happens.
And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
I can suck your dick.
Ha! No.
For some reason, people on Twitter found this to be hilarious. It's not funny. This is the epitome of trying too hard to be funny, literally. Just more 12-year-old level dirty humor that happens out of nowhere.
Never mind that the setup to this is that Alistair was going around assigning roles to everyone because he wants to fund the hotel. Also, I think a reason people bust a gut over this joke is primarily the delivery.
And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
Then this would be a great children's cartoon because it has the same energy as a children's cartoon. It has the same type of humor as a children's cartoon. Very face value, easy for kids to understand, so on and so forth. But this is an adult cartoon geared towards older audiences. But it retains that same juvenile level of humor. When I was 12 years old, I would have loved this show. I would have loved this. But now when I'm 22, it's just painful to sit through. The humor is so bad, it's so childish. It's like, I can't even believe that this is geared towards adults.
So, because you're 22, you can't understand why people would enjoy a series that isn't afraid to be juvenile. Then don't watch shows like Squidbillies or any abridged series online then. I feel you would just hate Team 4-Star's version of Cell.
At first you had my curiosity, but now you have my erection.
You mean your attention?
You all know what I'm about.
As cliche a saying as it is, humor is subjective. Just because you didn't find the jokes funny, doesn't mean that everyone in your age group wouldn't either. Ending it here because I don't care to argue the rest of his video. For someone who claims to use adult humor himself, I'm surprised you didn't care for the juvenile humor and claimed Hazbin Hotel was trying too hard to be adult. When I can imagine there are videos and comments out there saying the same thing about you. If you're going to review something, it's best to go in with an open mind. Not saying that you didn't, but the way you just said, oh, the jokes are juvenile and only 12-year-olds will laugh at them, is really dismissive. You just pretty much dismissed every joke the show had to make as them trying to be edgy, without actually bothering to pay attention to the context of the jokes. Also, you kind of exaggerated how often they would drop the F-bomb. Yes, they did use it, but it was often used with emphasis. And if you want to point towards Husk and say they just use it haphazardly, then Just Stop has already made that point for me. You also didn't give full context for a joke or a scene, claiming it was just random and inappropriate, when it really wasn't random. That's called being intellectually dishonest. I understand that the pilot to a TV show or a YouTube series always has to try and make a good first impression, and not everyone is going to like everything. I can also agree with you that the pacing towards the start and towards the end was rather fast, but I appreciated the pilot for what it was. A project that took 3 years to make and couldn't prove if allowed. No, I'm not saying it had to be like Saberspark, and I thought Miss ZZ's review of the show was pretty good, even if she used 1 or 2 of your points. But again, I think the reason your plane crashed and burned was a combination of your points and the way you presented yourself. But hey, considering the way you act in the first half of your response video, it's likely I'm just wasting my breath here. With all that said, this is Night saying thanks for watching, and please share your thoughts with me.